I am so excited about our speaker, and she is just an embodiment of what I'm just talking about with One Team, One Mission. And I think that's her team motto before that was even a company motto. And she is just so full of heart and love. And I was amazed when I heard her speak and got to know her at a boot camp. Another reason to go to boot camp is all the amazing people that you get to spend time with and that you get to meet. And Gretchen is from Sarasota, Florida. And I was in tears during her story and her journey. So Rebecca Downing, make sure you have tissues handy. We tell her that every call anyways, because it doesn't take much for her to cry. Yep, that's our new NMD down there. She's cried her way to NMD. Oh, we love you, Rebecca. But seriously, it's so awesome to just get to know people and hear their journey and their story and what Gretchen has been through, her trial and her triumph. I just identified with so much of it, and I loved her story, and I wanted to share her with you guys. She's just an amazing woman who loves God and loves her family and loves others, and she is a mom of Bella, which I'm sure she's going to tell you more about, and definitely a mom on a mission. So you guys are going to enjoy her story. So with that, Gretchen, take it away.
Thank you. And thanks so much, everybody, for letting me hop onto your team Zoom tonight. I love these, that I can see all these faces. That's awesome. And as Kimberly said, we really got to know each other at a boot camp. And I will say that has been where I have met some of my best friends all around the country, is through boot camps. And really some of my best friends I've met at the Q School. I actually met at a Cheryl Cortese, her Q School, when I was a senior sales coordinator. I met two of my best friends that I'm really close to now that are national marketing directors. And I love traveling to different areas. So hopefully, if you guys like me enough, I'll con Kimberly and her mom into letting me come to something up in Nashville. Would be awesome. But I'll share a little bit about myself. Like Kimberly said, I live in Sarasota, Florida. I am married. I've been married for coming up on 19 years. And we have one daughter who is 11 years old. Her name is Bella. And she is just wonderful. And I heard about this product. I took the product first. I was actually introduced to the product by a pediatric nurse. She's a friend of mine. She's also a national marketing director. At the time, we were working in a pediatric office together. And she introduced me to the product when my daughter was about 9 months old. And so when she told me about it, first of all, I trusted her because she was a pediatric nurse. So I figured if she gave this to her children, then I should probably be taking it. But what's really cool is when she told me I could get this into my daughter. So we started by my husband and I taking the product and then opening capsules and mixing it into my daughter's food. And I didn't really even give it a thought, nor did I have a conversation about the business in the beginning. And I don't know what I would have said if Courtney had said it to me in the very beginning. But what happened, which is a great thing to think about as you have those great customers that fall in love with the product, is that we loved it and we were very consistent. But then my daughter, when she was 3, so I was a customer for a couple of years, but when she was 3, she went to preschool and she didn't get any of those preschool illnesses that kids get when they go to school. She didn't get sick. She didn't get ear infections. Me having background in pediatrics, I was so used to watching those families come in, especially at that age when the kids start going off to school. And I naturally didn't even really try to tell people about Juice Plus, but every other preschool mom eventually came to me asking me why my kiddo never missed school. And so I just started telling all of them and sending them on to my friends. And over time, it just seemed like a natural fit. I was already doing the business. So again, when I started my business, I know probably a lot of you have goals, and maybe you came into the business with great goals about what you wanted with the Juice Plus company. I did not really. I just knew I was going to tell people anyway. And Courtney was like, hey, you're doing this job anyway. Do you want to get paid for these customers or me? And I was like, well, I might as well get paid. That's a good idea. Because I was a stay-at-home mom at that point. I was teaching, I'm certified in teaching Bikram yoga. So I was teaching yoga a couple days a week, which you do not do for money. You don't make any money as a yoga instructor. So I was really staying home and thought this would be a little extra money. And started my business. And back when I started, we did have fast track programs, but there were no bonuses. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I just knew to listen to my friend Courtney. And she said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have an event and you're going to invite over your friends and family. And I said, okay, I'll invite them over. And I didn't really say much except for I told everybody how much I loved the product, and lots of my friends ordered. And I think Courtney helped me fast track that night to VF, to virtual franchise, and everything was great. That was like May, 7.5 years ago. And then I did nothing, to be honest. I was that distributor. So I'm sure you guys have encountered that person, or maybe you've done that yourself. I collected some customers, and then I didn't do anything for about 4 months. Almost everybody that ordered canceled because I didn't call them. And a lot of them, I think, ordered that initial group because it was a party at my house. I think they thought of it like candles, like, okay, I'll buy a candle because I'm coming to her house. I'll buy some Juice Plus. And I didn't really know how to educate them and keep them as customers. So come September, Courtney asked me if I would go to the Juice Plus conference with her. And to be honest with you, I did think about it a little bit on would it make sense financially, because I remember my August paycheck was $56, which was like the profit on my husband and I's order only. So I didn't have a paycheck to warrant going to conference. But what I knew was that I always watched Courtney, because I think she had been going to conference for about a year at that point, and they looked like they had a lot of fun. And then the other side of it is that, and I'm sure a lot of you have been through this, so this is kind of my background at what's kind of led to me being passionate about this company and this mission, is that, well, I was pregnant with my daughter. We had a really hard time having a child. It took us about 7 years. We did in vitro 3 times and failed. We pretty much did everything we could. We ended up finally getting pregnant with her with an acupuncturist. And then in my 9th month of my pregnancy, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And it was not something that we expected, even though my father was a smoker. And I remember that the day that we heard that diagnosis, it just, a pit in my stomach. I just couldn't imagine that this was happening to him. And he didn't leave the hospital. Unfortunately, his cancer was so progressed that he was in the hospital for 7 days, and had 2 heart attacks in that time, and then passed away a week after he was diagnosed. So for me, over the time since I had my daughter, which was about 3 years, I lost him about 3 weeks before I gave birth to her. And over those 3 years, it just got harder and harder. Every milestone that I had with my daughter, which was like, I mean, I was the woman who had the baby shower like nobody else's baby shower, because while I was trying to get pregnant, all my friends had 2 or 3 kids. And so they all were so excited for me. It was like the Queen of England was having a baby or something, because that's how much they celebrated this baby. But over that time, I wanted to be happy, but I just kept kind of slipping into a place where I was really devastated that my dad didn't get to experience that with me. And I tell you this because if I had not gone to that Juice Plus conference, just being in the Juice Plus business would not have changed my life. Going to that conference really did. So I said yes to Courtney because she was so excited, and I almost didn't want to disappoint her. But I also said yes because I felt like it was a time where I had been really holding back how I was feeling and the loss I was feeling. And I thought, I'm just going to get on a plane and kind of fly away with these girls and have fun for a couple days and not think about it. And not knowing that when I got there, there would be a 6-minute speech that completely changed my life. I had gone there, and if you've been to a Juice Plus conference, and if you haven't, you just need to go. No matter what your excuses or what your restrictions are, or other jobs or kids or whatever, just bring them with you, because half the people there have their kids with them. But I went, and all of the trainings were great. But one of the things that hit me was there was one specific national director that shared her story, and she stood on stage, and I just remember that as NMDs come out, there's this beautiful, usually they've had this beautiful picture of their family taken behind them on there. Their family comes out with them. And I noticed for some reason, as soon as she walked out, that not everybody in the photo was standing with her. There was one of the girls missing. And she then proceeded to thank this company and this product and Jay Martin for having this company and helping produce this product, because she had lost her daughter about a month before she reached National Marketing Director to cystic fibrosis. And it's interesting how, I believe, at least for me, I know that God had his hand in having Courtney invite me to that conference and get me there that day to hear that story, because I had spent the last 9 years being a speaker for raising money for cystic fibrosis. And something about how she stood there and thanked them for the fact that even though she lost her daughter, she truly believed this product had extended her daughter's life. And there was nothing she would ever be able to do to pay back the gratitude that her family had for that extended time with her. And that moment, I remember sitting in that chair and thinking, had someone told me about this, even if my dad lived 3 more weeks, he might have held his grandchild. And that moment would have been priceless to me. And I remember thinking, I have an opportunity at this point to decide to walk out the door to tomorrow and take this product in business and affect lives so that someone doesn't go through what I went through. I want to be that person who's the one who told the woman about the product that gave her more time with her child. I don't want to be the person who didn't tell someone and they lost their parent or their son or, their husband or spouse or whatever to a preventable disease. And so that day I remember leaving and just thinking, I'm going to do this. If I'm going to stand up there one day on that stage and tell my story, and my dad is going to look down and see what I did. And he's going to know I did it for him so that other people wouldn't go through that loss. And it profoundly changed me. And, I think that every conference is great and there's always someone that stands out as a speaker, but I am an advocate for conference. In fact, honestly, I am that person who's like, oh, you can't come? You can't get there Thursday? Fly in Friday morning. It's okay if you miss the breakout trainings, get there Friday. It's okay to be there 2 days. Let's work this out. Are you sure you can't get the time off? Let's switch schedules. Who can work for you that day? I have an app on my phone that tells me when flight prices go down, and everyone on my team that's a maybe to conference, their hometown to conference is in my phone. It's called Hopper, in case you want to use it. It'll tell you when you should book, when the best prices are. So I have 8 right now waiting to book for when the price is best. So I tell you that because a part of my story is that I would not have ever pursued this business, probably never went any further, and certainly not been able to help build a team of people that affect thousands of lives every month if I had not gone there and heard that story, because it really related directly to me. And it made me go from a place of sadness and loss. Instead, I took that and decided that should be my inspiration. That would be what got me up every day. And in my journey, I know I shared this with Kimberly, it's not always easy. And I never candy coat that with people. I actually talked at I don't know where I was, Kimberly, but I talked at something once and they were like, ooh, she probably shouldn't say anything about how hard it is. And I was like, well, it is hard sometimes. It is. But at the end of the day, I have loved this 7.5 years and what we do more than any other career I could ever have or any other job I've had. But you have to have something that just literally is so powerful to you that you will get up no matter how many times someone says no, or someone on your team decides to not keep going with the business, or someone tells you your business is not valid or your product isn't, and you just have to keep going anyway, because we can't let people that say no stop what we're doing. And like we mentioned, and I love hearing all these distributors talk about one team, one mission. Because when I kind of started my business, a lot of people come up with their team names. And I still feel weird. I don't know why this is announcing myself as Gretchen Bogacz. I don't know. It's my husband's name. I like it, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue easily. So that was something that I thought was so cool. We are one team, one mission. And the reason why I named my team that is because of all of the people that celebrated my team's success the day that I walked stage. Really kind of cool. I don't know if you guys do this, but we always create t-shirts. I think I've seen your team does this when someone new reaches national marketing director. And what really touched me and made me think this is what this company's heart is the day that I walked stage, there were 8 national marketing directors that are not in my organization that wore my team shirt. And I just thought that was so cool. And those are all women from around the country that I've only met because of going to conference or going to trainings or boot camps or regionals. And they really, I mean, you have to have upline support, and you have leaders obviously on this team to teach you how to be successful and build your business. But for me, I also got I got such inspiration by seeing people who had that heart, that it wasn't about them, and they were not someone above you, or not someone that were going to benefit from your business. The fact that there were so many people that were just cheerleaders of our success. I think that every conference you go to, you will walk out seeing that that's our company's culture, and that is what keeps me in, and I will work this business every day. I will never stop being a part of this company, because you can't get that culture where everyone wants someone to succeed. They want people to cheer each other on. And I was just talking to my team last night, so I just kind of wanted to share this with you. I don't know if there's anybody on the line who has not been to a conference before, but here's my favorite part. So everybody always says the best part is the NMD speeches. So I'm actually a little nerdy about this, but I could show you photos on my phone. But here's my favorite part. I listen to the NMD, but what I do is I try to take photos of their team, like in front of them, because they all sit down on the ground right in front of the stage. And I love getting photos of their team and then sending them to the new NMDs, because everyone on the floor is crying their eyes out. It's just like unbelievable how much these people are so excited, because we are a family, and there's every bit of support that you can have. And so just something else I wanted to kind of share with you is that, and then I won't take too long of your team call, is that, there are going to be those ups and downs in your business. And I think part of it is understanding that, sometimes I think you see people that go to conference and train, and they look like they're so poised, and it doesn't seem like they're struggling in their business. And it took a lot for them to get to the point where they're walking on that stage and training. We all start out not as great about telling about the product, or telling about the business, or attracting team, or training them, or teaching them, or guiding them. It's just practice. And so I feel like if you just don't give up, one of the things that has always stuck with me, I have it in front of me. You guys can't see this, but in front of me, I have a dry erase board, and a statement that someone told us, this had to be 6 years ago, was that this business, the make or break of it is, it's like standing in a cafeteria line. And you just have to stay in line and keep slowly moving forward. And sometimes you move forward quick and people get out of line, so you get to move up in the line. And sometimes it's a really slow journey for periods of your business. And as long as you don't get out, you're eventually going to get to the front of the line. The only way you don't succeed is to stop doing activity or leave the business altogether. And I will tell you that everybody's journey is different. I was amazed when I got to hear Kimberly's journey. But my journey was one that it started out once I left that first conference. Like I said, it was a virtual franchise. So if there's anybody that's a VF on the line and they're going to go to conference, and you really would love to have your paycheck much bigger than it is today. Mine was $57 when I went to conference. But that inspiration turned into me telling everyone I knew about this product and inviting everyone to hear about the business. And I got to go back to that next conference 6 months later as a senior sales coordinator. So I got to move through 2 fast-track positions, and it was so fun. I don't know why I was so nerdy about this, that I got to go up there as a sales coordinator and a senior sales coordinator. I was like, do I go off stage and run back up again? I just thought that was so cool. But here's the thing. Not every part of your journey goes fast. Mine went fast there, and I remember thinking, oh, gosh, QNMD is like 6 months away. And it was 2 years away. And then it was another 2 years to get to NMD. So it's just and even from that, I think Kimberly might not have said this, but, even I've been a national marketing director for almost 2.5 years. And that journey of building even bigger and wider and producing more leaders, that's still a journey for me, because not everybody stays through the journey. And always making sure, at least for me, is holding myself accountable to be the example of telling people about the product and business. And I'll just close with, because this makes me laugh, it is kind of all about the bag. So, please don't tell other people that this is exactly how I felt about it, but I'll tell you guys, hopefully you won't judge me on this. But so I was so determined that I would carry that bag, because I'm like, I can't go to conference and my whole team be having these bags and me not do an HLP and be customer qualified. So I was determined I was going to do that. And I was so proud that the first month, what is it, July? Oh, yes, in July. I was so proud when that first thing came out. I'm like, I'm customer qualified, and I did an HLP. And I'd already heard on a call, there was like 100 people in the company did it. And I was jazzed up. I was like, oh yeah, I did that. And my name wasn't on the list. They forgot me. So yeah, I was like, oh, they forgot me. But that's okay, as long as they make the correction and they know I did it. So then I was like, I'm just gonna have to do another HLP. So I had to do another one just to be sure that they did not forget me on that thing. But it is kind of about the bag. And I love that. I remember when they were talking about this summer surge, and some people were like, is that a lot that people are gonna work for? I love recognition for my team. We have extra ribbons we have made up for certain things you can do. First time you come to a conference, we have a team hat I give out at our team dinner. I mean, people love that recognition. So if I can give you any bit of advice as far as inspiring your team, just recognize them for everything they do, small or big, because sometimes it's that first customer that's gigantic for them, or they bring on their first team member, or I've had people that are at VIA for a year before they qualify their business, and it's huge for them. Now they're doing the qualified lanyards. That's something I started about a year ago, and it was a big deal. They would get to stand up and we talk about them and put their lanyard over their neck. And I mean, just really celebrate everything and have fun with it, because I love this business and we just want to celebrate each other. So I love celebrating sidelines. So I'm sure I'll be hopefully getting to cheer on a bunch of you when I see you on stage. Yes, I'll get photos of you. So if you're crying, where's the crier? I don't know where she is. I cried my way all the way to NMD. Sorry, I just have to tell this funny story. So when I hit Q and MD, we had a team dinner, and my upline wanted me to stand up and say a few things, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, she's never going to be able to get through it. And I couldn't. I was like bawling. Oh, my team all stood up and clapped for me. I'm like, what are they doing? And they all were convinced that I would never be able to walk the stage and tell my story as an NMD. In fact, we had this joke that a friend of mine was going to learn my speech, and she was going to get the same outfit as me, so that if I couldn't do it, she would run out on stage and just pretend she was me and put one of those faces, those little cardboard faces in front of it, and just do the speech for me, because no one thought I could do it. But eventually I told the story enough that I could get through. So, Kimberly, is there anything else you wanted me to share tonight?
Well, that was awesome, Gretchen. I just love your enthusiasm and inspiration. And the one other thing I wanted you to touch on, if you don't mind, because I know we run across this a lot, is your daughter and her food allergies. You want to share a little bit about that journey and why you're so passionate to help other kids that are going through that?
Yeah, my daughter has a life-threatening food allergy to peanuts. And it's interesting how you connect with people. My upline son is allergic to about 80 different foods. And we connected in that way before the Juice Plus way. And one of the things that was also an inspiration for building my business was that my daughter was in the public school system, and we had a lot of really scary events happen, because my daughter is allergic to peanuts, but she's airborne reactant. So typically they say that you're anaphylactic if your level is over a 12 to 14, and her numbers are in the 700 range to peanuts. So it made it very challenging in the school system. There were a lot of things. She had to actually have an aide with her whenever she left her classroom, because in a normal school there are so much peanut residue just floating in the air. And she came up to me we transferred in third grade after the first semester. And she had been, I don't know if I even told this story to you, Kimberly, but she had been out on the playground, and some girls had cornered her in the playground and were, they knew she had a peanut allergy, and just kind of as what they considered a joke, they had both had peanut butter for lunch, and they told her they were going to wipe the peanut butter on her, and that they wanted to see if she could really die from it. And she was terrified. And I remember her coming home, and she didn't tell me anything. I knew something was wrong when I picked her up. And then we got into the house, and she just started crying. And she was like, I don't want to go there. I'm afraid. And that was the first time she admitted to me that every day that she had gone to school since kindergarten, she was afraid something would happen to her. And my heart just broke as a mom, not knowing that all that time. And that was about 3 months before spring conference that I made national marketing director. And honestly, I tell you that because I got very stuck at qualifying national marketing director, and I only had the volume. So I kind of needed to grow my business by an entire third to reach NMD, and I only had 3 months. And I really didn't see it for spring. I was not slotted thinking I was going to make it for spring conference because nothing new had really happened. But the moment that she told me that, I knew I had to do something different for her. And we had thought about a Christian private school, but we really thought middle school would where we could probably financially handle it. And the very next day, I let her stay home that day because she was so upset. And my mother-in-law came over, and I went and toured this private school because I had heard they didn't serve peanuts in the school. And they're not peanut free, but they don't serve any products with peanuts or peanut butter, and they don't have a cafeteria. So it's a very small school, like basically kindergarten to high school is smaller than her third grade class was. So, and I looked at the number for tuition, and I just thought, I can do this with the Juice Plus business. And that was the determining factor. And I actually went to my team and said, and I hopefully won't cry now, but I remember getting on a call with 4 of my friends who were strong leaders. And I said, I have to get my kid out of this school, and we can do this if you guys will help me. And we did like 100 events, I think. I mean, it was unbelievable to see what they went to work to make that happen. And I am an advocate for that. And also my upline has an amazing story with her son. So if you ever run across anybody who has really high allergies, because I have seen improvements. My daughter, knock on wood, her numbers went down about 300 points over the last 3 years since she moved out of a public school. Because she's just not being exposed to so much of it. And we've also moved her from doing chewables. I've moved her into doing a smoothie every day with an adult dose of capsules for the last year. We've seen a huge improvement. So if you ever have anyone that has questions about allergies or anything like that, it can make a difference in these kids' lives. But it also gave me another reason to continue to build this business because, I mean, for me, I always and forever, my business, and I love this about the company, they will never ask you to do anything else. My first priority for my husband and I both is always our faith and to serve in our church. And then it's our family. And then the Juice Plus company and my business comes third. And what's really cool about that is if you can get it in the top 3, then you can have anything you want in this company. Now, if it's priority number 10, it's going to be hard to move your business forward. But for me, it's always been number 3, comes after faith and church and family, but it's number 3. And it's been able to really just do amazing things because I've kept that focus on it. But it really, if you ever have anything that I can help out, I'm always happy to do a call for anybody about food allergies because it can make such an impact on people's lives if you share it with them. Anything else, Kimberly? Sorry. Got a little off track there and almost got upset and started to cry, but I held out.
That was awesome. And no, I hadn't heard that story. I mean, you told me that getting her out of school, but I hadn't heard that story. So that's amazing. Oh, I love you even more, Gretchen. That was awesome. Very, very cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And then we always take a crazy picture at the end of the call. And then if any of you want to ask Gretchen any questions, Gretchen, I don't know if you can stay on a few more minutes with us.